is the gentleman from Maine, Mr. Poliquin.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Appreciate it very much. Mr. Stumpf, you're the CEO and the chairman of the board of Wells Fargo. Is that correct?
That is correct.
How long have you had that position?
I was named CEO in the summer of 2007, and I was named chairman in beginning of 2010.
Okay, so 9 years in that
yes.
Roughly in that position. How long have you been at the bank?
I've been at the bank. It'll be 35 years.
Okay, so you've been at the bank a long time, and one could conclude, and I think you would agree with me, that you know the bank pretty well.
I love this company,
okay.
yes.
You know what really bothers me, Mr. Stumpf, along with other things, is that I'm looking at this pattern of you folks ripping off your customers, getting caught, paying a fine, and doing the damn thing all over again. Now, we just had on the board a minute ago 13 instances of this in the last 6 years. And you paid a total of $11 billion in settlement fines. Now, you just stood here before us and told us several times you know the difference between right and wrong. You're the head banana over there. I look at you, I look at Wells Fargo. I know it's a big organization. 268,000 employees, 268,000 jobs. Thank you for that, sir. But you know something? I don't think management, which means you, knows the difference between right and wrong. But I'll tell you who does. It's the people I represent in Maine. I represent 650,000 of the most honest, hardworking people you can ever find anywhere. They know the difference between right and wrong. Now, one thing I want to just throw out in your lap right now, be very clear. I don't know where this is going, but I will not support in any way, shape, or form any kind of bailout using taxpayer money for Wells Fargo. You got to get through me, through a lot of other people on this committee. Now, here's what I worry about. I don't worry about Wells Fargo. You have 268,000 employees. How many attorneys you got over there?
I don't have that number.
Okay, do you have more than 10?
Yes.
You have more than 1,000?
I don't know. I don't
Okay,
think
you get a lot of attorneys.
Yes.
Right? I don't worry about you folks. Yeah. Somehow, some way, you're going to make your way through this. You know what I worry about? I worry about our 31 community banks, local banks in the district that I represent. Highly rural, Mr. Stumpf. 31 community banks, 500 branches, 9,200 employees. Good paychecks, good jobs with good benefits. We also have 58 credit unions with 196 branches and 2,250 employees. These folks are relied upon in their communities. They take their paychecks and they trust the teller and they trust the bank manager. But you know what happens? Is that when this happens, it flows downhill. And that's exactly what happened in the financial meltdown 7, 8 years ago. Is that all of a sudden, because of a small handful of big money center banks that took too much risk with the problem with the regulators, I understand this, everyone was culpable, but all of a sudden we have this very smothering set of financial regulations that are choking off home loans, mortgages to the folks in my district. They can't get a small business loan to put a new diesel in their lobster boat. Now you come along. I don't know where this is going to go, but I will tell you this. The probability will be high that your organization and the actions of you in your organizations, this systemic pattern of misbehavior and gross mismanagement, and it looks like fraud, is going to find its way to the community banks and the folks that rely on them in rural Maine. You ought to be ashamed of yourself. What do you tell a family? What do you tell a family that is looking to add their 4th child to their family, and they need to put a new bathroom on their house in Ellsworth, Maine, and they can't get a loan because of the regulations, and now it's going to get worse? What do you tell them?
You know, Senator, I'm sorry that Congress.
You're asleep over there.
I'm so sorry, Congressman. I'm sorry for what we've done. Our people also live and work in these neighborhoods, in these communities, and we're trying to do the right thing. I can't.
You should have been trying to do the right thing, Mrs. Stumpf, during these 13 settlements, fines, call them what you want, over 6 years, totaling $11 billion. That's the pattern that I see.
Yeah, well, there's no question that we've had a lot of settlements, and every one we've learned from, and we're trying to do a better job. Thank you much.
Time of the gentleman.